Welcome to the show. We're happy to have today John Magee, Vice President of Analytics at PerkStreet.com. So let's start out with kind of a general question of just what is analytics?
I think of it as anything that's about marshaling data, figuring out how to use data to improve business performance. You know, you have to find people who are really good at translating data into insight that people can understand. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people who are really good with data. There's a lot of people who are really good at communicating, but finding sort of the middle ground there is a tough thing. Finding out the attributes of an idea or the parts of a decision that worked versus didn't work, leads everybody to a place where they can have better ideas and be more successful in the future. That kind of openness ends up having a better result long term. Short term, it can be painful for some people, but if everybody's bought in at the beginning, there can be some pretty powerful results from including analytics at the beginning. When I was in college, I thought I was going to be an academic scientist, and I was studying cognitive science. It's really about the sort of scientific aspects of human perception and memory and behavior and language and all that stuff. And still to this day, I'm obsessed with how people make decisions, especially where sort of rationality comes into it, because I think anybody can point to examples almost every day where you're making a decision that's kind of irrational if you really add up the numbers.
Right. Basics that you need to have in kind of your analytics portfolio.
You have to start out by knowing how you're going to collect the data before you even say, this is going to be success and this is not going to be success. You have to figure out what the basic measures are going to be and how you're going to collect the data for that. Sort of general advertising campaigns, you often hear people say the goal is to create awareness. Right. The goal is actually to create business at some point, right? Awareness may be the way that people decide to do business with you or buy your product. Right. So you should understand what you want to do to the business and then how awareness sort of links to that, and develop a full set of measurements so you can figure out if you're making any money or not. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right?
One thing that I see a lot is that people always want benchmarks. Right. But I see a constant problem to that is it's extremely difficult to get apples to apples.
Benchmarks may give you some clues as to the neighborhood you might want to be in, but you really have to pull them apart. In my profession, you're always teaching because there's always somebody who, you have to kind of, there's always a little bit of statistics going on. How do you know this is true? And that's always a tough conversation. And there's just sort of the capability, and then just delivering the news. This worked, this didn't. There's a lot of kind of teaching moments there.